Have you ever wondered how a woman with years of experience, having gone through countless ups and downs in love, could offer us invaluable lessons about connection and intimacy in a relationship? Sometimes just one heartfelt conversation is enough to completely change how we perceive love and nurture a lasting bond with our partner. In today's video, we will explore the profound advice of Mrs. Eleanor, a 74-year-old woman who has spent over 5 decades in a fulfilling and deeply understanding marriage. From the early days of youthful love to the many years of companionship with her life partner, she has gathered countless valuable lessons on keeping the flame of love alive, building a strong connection, and overcoming the inevitable challenges of married life. Stay with us until the end of the video, because I believe Mrs. Eleanor's insights could completely transform how you approach love and communication in your relationship. Whether you are in a long-term relationship or just beginning your journey in love, these pieces of advice will help you foster a deeper, more genuine, and more meaningful connection with the one you cherish. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any valuable content. Your support allows us to continue producing insightful videos and helps spread meaningful messages about love and life. If you find this video helpful, please like it and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback is incredibly important as it helps me create content that better aligns with your interests and needs. Now, let us embark on a journey to uncover the profound wisdom of Mrs. Eleanor, a woman whose invaluable life experiences may change how we perceive love and connection. Nestled in a small village deep within a valley, where towering mountains stand as eternal guardians, and a winding river glistens like a silver ribbon reflecting the sunlight, lives a woman revered for her deep wisdom and keen understanding of the human soul. Mrs. Eleanor, as the villagers affectionately call her, is not just an elderly woman with silver hair and kind, gentle eyes. She is a bearer of profound life lessons. She holds no power or wealth, yet her soft-spoken words, thoughtful insights, and stories filled with experience have encouraged countless people. Her reputation extends far beyond the small village, reaching distant lands. Those burdened by sorrow, doubt, or a sense of being lost seek her out, hoping her wisdom will help them find light within their souls. It is said that simply sitting on the wooden porch of her home, listening to her warm, soothing voice, and sipping a cup of fragrant herbal tea is enough to ease one's troubles. No one knows where Mrs. Eleanor acquired her profound understanding of human nature. Some believe it results from years filled with highs and lows, loss and happiness, shaping her clear perspective on the complexities of human emotions. Others say she possesses a special soul, one that can sense and soothe the pain of others without the need for many words. Regardless of who they were or where they came from, anyone who spoke with Mrs. Eleanor always left with a lighter heart, as if a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. Some sought her love advice, others longed to hear a healing story, and even wandering souls were simply searching for themselves. No matter their story, Mrs. Eleanor always listened with patience and deep empathy, as though she had known them for a long time. In a small town, nestled among lush, rolling hills, where time seemed to slow down, and life unfolded in a simple, peaceful manner, lived a woman deeply revered by the townspeople for her rare wisdom and boundless understanding. That woman was Mrs. Eleanor, a master of human psychology and marital love. For decades, her guidance illuminated countless couples' paths, helping them find balance and deeper connections in their relationships. Today's story follows Isabel, a young woman yearning for a deeper understanding of love and marriage. She had been married for several years, yet lingering questions still troubled her heart. She wanted to clarify intimacy in marriage, the fine line between love, responsibility, and personal desires. After many sleepless nights of contemplation, she finally sought out Mrs. Eleanor, the woman her parents had spoken of since childhood, describing her as a person of profound wisdom and immense compassion. The journey to meet Mrs. Eleanor was not an easy one. Isabel crossed vast, endless fields and traversed babbling brooks that flowed beneath old wooden bridges, her heart filled with hope, yet tinged with nervous anticipation. By the time she finally reached the town, exhaustion was evident on her face, but her eyes still shone with an unquenchable eagerness. The local townsfolk, known for their hospitality, quickly pointed her toward Mrs. Eleanor's home, a small wooden cottage nestled within a lush garden where the fragrance of herbs lingered in the air, creating an unusually peaceful atmosphere. Stepping inside, Isabel immediately felt the warmth of the space. The room was simple, yet thoughtfully arranged, with a fireplace crackling in the corner, casting a soft golden glow that made everything seem touched by magic. There sat Mrs. Eleanor, dressed in a modest woolen gown, her gentle smile radiating kindness, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. She warmly invited Isabel to sit, pouring her a fragrant herbal tea with a soothing aroma. After a few moments of silence, savoring the peacefulness of the space, Isabel finally spoke. Her voice was thoughtful, yet filled with deep curiosity. "Madam, I have been thinking a lot about intimacy in marriage. There are things I find difficult to discuss, not because of shame, but out of fear that I might be straying from what is considered proper. I want to ask, is oral intimacy truly appropriate in marriage? Is it something right, or just a fleeting desire that shouldn't exist?" Mrs. Eleanor did not appear surprised. On the contrary, she looked at Isabel with eyes full of understanding, as if she had heard this question countless times throughout the years of guiding those seeking wisdom. She took a small sip of tea, pondered for a moment, then gently responded, "Isabel, intimacy in marriage is not just a physical bond. It is a sacred dance of love, respect, and deep connection between two souls. Rigid norms imposed by others should not confine marriage. What matters most is that every act between husband and wife comes from mutual willingness, genuine love, not obligation or pressure." She paused, allowing Isabel a moment to reflect before continuing. "Society may set different standards for love and intimacy, but what truly matters is how you feel and the foundation upon which your relationship is built. It can be meaningful if an act brings joy and understanding and strengthens the bond between husband and wife. However, the core principle must always be mutual consent and respect. Open communication is the key if something makes you or your spouse uncomfortable. Talk with one another to find a common ground, rather than letting silence create distance." As Isabel listened to every word, relief slowly spread through her heart. She realized that the most important aspect of marriage was not adhering to rigid rules, but fostering open and honest communication between two partners. "You're right," Isabel nodded softly. "I now understand that there is no absolute right or wrong. What truly matters is mutual agreement and connection between husband and wife." Mrs. Eleanor smiled warmly, placing her gentle hand over Isabel's as a gesture of encouragement. "That's right, my dear. Listen to your heart, but also listen to the heart of the one you love. A marriage can truly endure only when both partners walk the path of love with understanding, appreciation, and acceptance." As the sun set, Isabel left Mrs. Eleanor's home, her heart filled with newfound clarity and a deep sense of peace. She now understood that marriage was not about following outdated conventions, but rather an ongoing journey of love, listening, and cherishing one another, one that she and her husband would continue to explore daily. Mrs. Eleanor watched Isabel depart, her eyes kind and knowing, before she let a faint smile grace her lips. As if reminiscing about a distant memory, she took another sip of herbal tea, allowing its warmth to spread through her before she slowly recounted a story from the past. In this small town, a couple deeply in love once lived, Daniel and Sophia. They came together in the passionate embrace of youth, their early days filled with joy and devotion. But as with all marriages, time passed, and the demands of daily life gradually created distance between them. One day, Sophia came to me, her eyes full of uncertainty. "Madam," she said, "I love Daniel dearly, but I feel a distance is forming between us. The passion we once shared seems to be fading, and I fear that one day we will become strangers under the same roof." Mrs. Eleanor paused, her gaze drifting toward the fireplace as if she could still see Sophia from long ago. I told Sophia that the most important thing was not to cling to the intense emotions of the past, but to find new ways to nurture their connection. I advised her to have an open conversation with Daniel, not to demand or blame, but to seek understanding. Because sometimes, distance in a marriage doesn't come from love fading, but simply from two people forgetting how to listen and share. Isabel listened intently, feeling like Mrs. Eleanor's words were like a refreshing stream flowing into her soul. "And you know what?" Mrs. Eleanor continued. "Sophia took my advice to heart. She didn't just express her desires. She also listened to Daniel with an open heart. Together, they discovered new ways to reconnect. Sometimes, it was as simple as a longer embrace in the morning, a quiet walk hand in hand, or sitting in comfortable silence, simply feeling each other's presence. They realized that intimacy is not just about physical closeness, but emotional attunement, when one can be vulnerable without fear of judgment." Mrs. Eleanor's final words deeply moved Isabel. She felt as if a warm light had seeped into the deepest corners of her heart, dissolving the doubts that had lingered there for so long. Her eyes glistened with emotion as she looked at Mrs. Eleanor with profound gratitude. "I understand now," Isabel murmured, her voice thick with emotion. "I used to believe that love had to burn fiercely to be strong. But now, I see that true connection is not just in grand gestures, but in the everyday moments of care, listening, and authenticity." Mrs. Eleanor smiled gently, again placing her warm hand over Isabel's as a silent encouragement. "That's right, my dear. Wisdom is not just about understanding, but about applying love and respect in daily life. Always remember, a lasting relationship is not built on perfection, but on sincerity and the willingness to walk together through life's ups and downs." As Isabel left the little cottage, the sun had begun to sink behind the distant mountains, painting the sky in a brilliant shade of orange. Yet, within her, a sense of peace was rising, unlike anything she had ever known. On the road back home, she no longer felt the uncertainty she had carried when she arrived. She now understood that love is not a fixed state, but a journey that both partners must nurture daily. Honest communication, empathy, and mutual respect have been the keys to maintaining a strong and lasting relationship over the years. We hope today's story has given you fresh perspectives and helped you cultivate a deeper, more enduring relationship. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. After watching this video, what resonated with you the most? Share a lesson you feel you can apply to your life in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and share it to spread this meaningful message to more people. And, most importantly, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming inspirational content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.